All right, welcome into the show. I'm your host, Chris. You can find me on Twitter at CFB Talk 07. My co-host, CFB Season, and Austin Stone. How you guys doing?
What's up, man?
What's up, fellas, bro? How we living, dog?
Good. I'm ready for
Living,
Friday.
living the dream, man. Living the dream.
Yeah. Everybody's week though has been good.
Oh man, bro, life's been amazing, man. I can't complain, bro.
Yeah, I
I know
feel
this.
you.
I know this is a football show, but shit, we got SEC play opening up, bro, for baseball. Looking forward
Yes.
to that, man.
I'm hyped for SEC play starting this weekend. Got Georgia, Kentucky's, which what I'm excited for. Ain't Tennessee and Florida playing too, right?
Yep, that's gonna be another good one. They got a few good series. Alabama, A&M. I hope there's no Missouri fans watching this tonight because LSU is going BTA, dog.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna get ugly, boy.
Yeah. All right. Shoot. Already got a coughing spell. All right, let's get into news and notes. Austin, we were going to bring up, I don't know if you'd seen this. I'll add it to the stage. NCAA's kind of leaked a deluxe edition cover. Season's got some opinions on it. I don't know, man. I'm a fan of it only because Kirby's in it. But other than that, I kind of would like, me and Season were talking pre-show. Kind of wish they would just like do one player. I don't know if you've seen that yet, Austin.
Yeah.
How you feel about it, Austin?
I don't know. I wonder, you think they're doing that trying to get away from like the jinx? They used to, whoever they put on the cover always seemed like they ended up being a bust or got hurt.
Yeah, that was a big. There's a big
That's
Madden
Madden
curse.
thing. That's a Madden thing.
Was that
It used to
Madden?
be, yeah, that's Madden. It used to be whoever won the Heisman the season before gets put on it. So he's usually that player's already gone from college.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't, but this looks like this is the deluxe edition, so that's just one cover of many. I'll be curious to see what the other covers are. I kind of like. I wish they would just do like one player, like a Jeremiah Smith type thing. That'd be pretty cool. But like I said, I'm a little biased on this one because it does have Kirby in it. So, and from what I've understood, Austin, I know
Man.
you don't play the game, but Season, supposedly they're going to have coaches in this one.
Yeah, that's what they hinting at, right? Lane Kiffin,
Yeah.
James Franklin, Kirby. Who else? Any other coaches?
It looks like Kenny Dillingham's in there somewhere.
Bro, look at this though, bro. I mean, we went from one player last season. What we had like three players maybe. What we're gonna get next year? The band? Like it's so stupid in my opinion. Like it should just be one player. I
Wait,
don't
ain't
know.
that a band? Ain't that the band in the back?
It might
I
be,
think
bro.
so. It's got some
Mascots,
mascots in there. It's got some mascots in there.
the chain gang.
I
Yeah, the
mean,
chain gang.
I'll be curious to see what they do with it. I mean, it does say deluxe edition, so maybe they're trying to give it a deluxe feel.
Yeah.
Because you
Put
get a
some
little
money
bit of
on it.
everything. So, yeah, you think there's some NIL money on that?
Oh yeah,
Speaking
I'm
of
sure.
speaking of NIL money, Arch Manning, the number one, the highest paid college football player, it's not even on the cover. Make that make sense.
Yeah, that's
And
kind of crazy. I wonder. Oh, go
and they
ahead,
got
Austin.
Bryce.
I was
And
gonna
they got
say
Bryce Underwood,
he ain't played a snap. I mean, started a snap yet.
but they got Bryce Underwood.
Yeah, they got Bryce Underwood in there.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
He
Yeah.
hasn't even played a
All
lick.
right.
That may
All right.
have something to do with his dad or his grandpa or something. I know they're pretty
Maybe.
strict with this stuff. All right, another one that has another news that came out earlier. I'm actually trying to pull it up, but here I'll just pull up this one. Dan Lanning has agreed to an amended 6-year contract that increases his annual pay to nearly $11 million annually. So I think it's obvious I'm a big Dan Lanning fan. I think this is a great move. Go ahead and get him locked down. I love that he's. It seems like every coach Oregon gets, they kill it there, and then they dip out. Mario Cristobal at Miami, and then Willie Taggart dipped out on them. I love that Dan Lanning's going to stay at Oregon. It seems like this is going to be like he's going to make this his permanent home.
Yeah.
I know things can change, but it was the Bama job was open, and he's made it known he had no interest in it. So I love it for Oregon, and I love that Dan Lanning's going to stay there.
So he gets a 6-year extension. They also, in the article, both coordinators get 3-year extensions.
Yeah,
Josh Tupel and Will Stein. So they extend him, and they buying into what they're doing over there at Oregon, obviously.
mm-hmm.
And now, how much pressure is on him to win a title in this window? 6 years is a pretty steep window, I feel like. So I mean, the more years you have, the more pressure, I guess it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think where his expectations in 6 years. I mean, I think before the race, it was national championship or bust.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never. I've told you this before, Chris. I'll never put that on one season saying national championship or bust. But with his expectations and saying over the next 5 to 6 years, I think he's got it. I think he had to win one anyhow. I don't think the money's got anything to do with it.
Yeah, I would put him with Stark. They in the same category. You got to win at least one in the next 6 years, I think, for those two coaches.
Yeah,
You think the Oregon thing will fix itself though? Now that they're in the Big Ten and not in the Pac-12.
I've always thought that Oregon could win a national championship, Pac-12 or Big Ten. I don't know what y'all feel, but I just always thought they could be a school similar to Clemson. Clemson's not like in this. I mean, South Carolina's good talent. I'm just saying, but they're not in like this hotbed of talent. And I've always thought Clemson could be that next Clemson that wins national championships.
That's a good comparison. I like that.
Clemson, yeah, there's a couple of schools I feel like that could be that way, that that could win national championships that may not be. I've made it known on this show. North Carolina's a school I think could do something similar to what Clemson did.
I mean, they got ESPN on their headquarters, on their campus. They got like the best jerseys and all those different combinations. They appeal to recruits all over the country. They just, in my opinion, arguably a top 3, top 2 recruiting class. But me personally, I feel like I don't know if they would have won one in the Pac-12 though. They came close a few times. The championship game, a couple appearances, but they didn't get over the hump. I think being in the Big Ten and playing against like Ohio State is going to challenge you more, and it's going to that's how you're going to get over the hump. That's how I look at it, especially coming from an SEC guy. But I mean, Clemson was a good program you brought up, and they in the ACC, and that's a very similar program. I think I like that analysis. That comparison.
With a little more money though, because they got hella money in Oregon. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
All right, to the next one, and this is a pretty big one. In my opinion, I do not know why it did not click the article. Sorry, hold on. I actually got to
DJ Lagway.
Pull up another. Yeah, DJ Lagway. Go ahead and start talking about that while I share this.
Yeah, so to start out spring, DJ Lagway is not throwing, only doing handoffs and motions with his mechanics. However, this is concerning, I guess, from a lot of people's perspective. I don't know how much y'all buying into the concern, but during spring football, this is a time when you're supposed to be developing chemistry with your wide receiver room, your weapons, your offense. He's not throwing. Missing a lot of reps.
Well, this is what's concerning to me, season. It says right here in this article that I was finally able to pull up. Do not be shocked if Lagway doesn't throw for the remainder of the spring. The Gators are exercising an abundance of caution with the rising sophomore who went 6-1 in the games he started for a team that finished 8-5. I'm told Lagway's injury shouldn't require surgery. which that's all sounding concerning to me.
Anything with surgery, re-aggravating risk, that's very
Yeah.
concerning. Yeah, like some
Yeah.
people are saying it's a little fishy what's kind of going on right now, and
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere, right?
yeah, they hiding it a little bit. Now they can't hide it because media availability is going to pick up on things at spring, but it's kind of a little fishy, I guess, in a way. I would say.
Any idea on when he started complaining about the injury, or was it something?
Yeah, that's it. This came like popped
Well,
out of nowhere for me.
because me and Chris, we were talking about baseball last week, and anytime you hear of a pitcher sitting out because of shoulder or elbow injury, he's done. I mean, most of the time it's going to require some kind of surgery. So I'm just curious if this was like a throwing injury, or if he just got hit too hard in the game and throw him up, bust him up, and he's just sore.
Shoulder.
Yeah.
And it just, like I said, it came out of nowhere. I don't know if Season's seen it. I've been pretty busy here lately, but I just remember, like, I think Season was the one that sent it to me or something, and I was like, where'd that come from? Like, I didn't even know he was even hurt.
You think Florida's dependent on Lagway as heavily as, say, Florida State was on what's his name 2 years ago?
Jordan Travis.
Yeah, what was Florida State? What was Florida State's quarterback name when they went 12-0? Yeah. I'm just saying, you think if Lagway can't go, Florida's done?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The expectations are definitely right on Lagway, and I think they're going to lean on the ground a lot. However, to counter a little bit on that, but you definitely need Lagway to fit their expectations for this season.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, it even says here that their priority is having a fully healthy Lagway when the season begins. That makes sense because everyone's jobs may rely on him being healthy and productive. So
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't like that he's missing the spring.
And he has a wide receiver room with new faces. Like, that's a lot of chemistry, a lot of reps he's not hitting. You still got the summer and fall camp. You still got a good ways to, like, you could probably get over this, but it's weird.
Yeah. All right, let's go. We'll do one more news thing. We're gonna let Season talk about this. LSU hired a new D-line coach. Season, tell us who he is and all that.
And LSU dips into a former player that played at LSU, won a national championship at LSU, had a very lengthy career with the Buffalo Bills, 6-time Pro Bowler, Kyle Williams from Ruston, Louisiana, North Louisiana. North Louisiana is known for producing a lot of old trenches talent. A lot of O-line, D-line comes from North Louisiana, so that's really great for the program. Fan favorite. Really, I'm really excited about this hire, to be honest. I love the hire. I think he's really big on developmental. We're gonna see how he does recruiting. He's coming from a defensive coordinator opportunity. That's where his last stop was in the high school games, though. So this is his first college football coaching. But I mean, just a very lengthy career in the NFL, and just he's well liked in the state, and I think he's going to fit in perfectly with the program. He played with Nick Saban era when Nick Saban was at LSU. I think he's going to be one of those developmental guys and a player's coach. So I like the hire with Kyle Williams.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I don't hate it. I didn't know much about him, which is why I kind of let you talk about him the most. When I seen the hire, it seems. How's the fan base liking it? I think are they like 50?
They're loving it. They're loving it. Yeah, they love it. This is a home run hire. I feel like we're gonna see how he does recruiting. But I think from the developmental standpoint, it's just as good as Bo Davis.
Yeah.
Bo Davis.
Yeah, I mean, hearing you say that, I had looked up something when we started talking about Blake Baker, but he was asked how to describe his defense, and he described it, quote, a vertical one-gap defense where we're creating havoc in the backfield. Up front, that means defensive tackles are encouraged to get after the quarterback, not just eat blocks. Mm-hmm. So hiring a defensive coordinator like that sounds like he fits right in with what the scheme is.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the coordinators. Second year, third year guys. I think we got like 2 30-year guys on this. Let's start with Mike Bobo at UGA. This is his second year. Now, this is I remember when I told Season this, he didn't remember. This is actually Bobo's second stint at UGA. So he's actually been at UGA 15 years his first time, and then now he's back a second time. And this is his second go around as an offense coordinator, but his second year since being back. So I thought first year he did good. broke all kind of records in 23. And then last year, I think we all know it was really bad. Wasn't good. A lot of injuries. Offensive line did not play good at all. Receivers, I think we all talked about that a lot. A lot of drop balls. Kirby's decided to keep him. Matter of fact, Kirby said earlier this week, I don't have the exact quote, but said he feels like he has the best staff in the country. I don't know. As a Georgia fan, I think it's known I'm not on the Mike Bobo train anymore. I was his biggest fan, but I think kind of hopped off that stuff. What is y'all's general take on Bobo going into year 2?
I'll start.
Well, actually, year 3. I'm sorry. He's a year 3 guy, Tyler.
Yeah. You and I have been talking about Bobo for 20 years. We went through this the first stint when everybody was hollering fire Bobo. I think Bobo is a very good offensive coordinator. My problem, I think, is Georgia's expectations are more than very good. I think he'd make a great offensive coordinator at South Carolina or Arkansas, Kentucky. I think Georgia could do better. But I am curious to see, I think about the SEC championship when Gunner had to come in. He went crazy with it. It was like he had a whole nother playbook.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what he does with, assuming Gunner gets pulled this year. Curious to see what he does and how he opens up the offense a little bit, but I'm sure Kirby ain't gonna let him go too crazy. But
Yeah, what's your take, Season?
I feel like his first stint, man, he had some credible success.
Yeah, he had the best offenses Georgia's ever had.
Matthew Stafford, Aaron Murray. I'm feel like his second stint's not living up to. I don't know what I mean. Win-loss wise, he's still doing tremendously. I mean, obviously with Kirby, but I just feel like the offense hasn't that reputation. I mean, he had a decent year of Carson Beck in 23, like how you said, kind of really regressed last year. Not having a run game, and I guess your offensive line problems could play a factor to his play calling, and we're gonna see how he does this upcoming season. And I read an article about Kirby, and Kirby's backing. He's backing Bobo. He's saying that he wants to have the retention. He wants to bring back the same staff. He don't want new faces. So Kirby's trusting, and you agree with Kirby saying that he has the best staff in all of college football?
In all of college football?
I think that's what Kirby said, huh?
I think he's got a top 5 staff. Yeah, I think he's got a top. I don't know that it's the best. I agree with Austin. I think Bobo's good. I think he's a really, really good offensive coordinator. I think the numbers bear that out. Like it's ridiculous to get up here for anybody, and y'all haven't said that, but for anybody to say Mike Bobo's a bad offensive coordinator, he's not bad. He's really, really good. I don't know that he's elite. I do think Kirby, though, is correct that he has a top staff. I don't know that I agree with him being number 1, but I've only won national championships on NCAA 25, so he's done it in real life. So I'm at the point now where I just trust – the man's won 2 national championships. I'm just going to trust him. I do know this. If it goes bad next year, I fully 100% believe Kirby's going to fire him. It'll be over. So –
Yeah, Bobo wasn't on those championship teams.
Nope, he was not. Todd
Um,
Monken.
you think his first stint is better, is living up more better than the second stint so far?
His 2023 was really good. His 2023 was really good. He broke some records, but I do think so far his first stint, was better.
When he didn't have a great quarterback in that first stint, though, he wasn't great either.
He had some great backs too during that first
Oh,
stint.
he had some great backs. He had some great quarterbacks, but the years that
AJ Green too.
Yeah.
Had AJ Green, No Sean Marino, Todd Gurley. I mean, a bunch of guys. He had some talent.
Yeah.
So. I wonder if Kirby is, and not the, but we talk about the Nick Saban effect, and Saban talks about part of the demise of the end of his career was just not being able to get the staff right. Because there for a while, he was just guys were leaving, obviously for better jobs or getting promoted, and we just couldn't get the coordinators right there at the end. So it makes me wonder if Kirby's trying to not go that route and maybe keep somebody who's not going to be a like we say, Bobo's good, but I don't think people are going to be kicking the doors down in Athens to try to steal him away and hire him as a head coach.
I will say this.
I agree with you on that, Austin.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that.
I will say this. I can't say it on the show like who it was. I'll tell you guys off air. I was actually told this week an NFL team that actually offered him a job this year as an OC. I'll tell y'all off. Y'all remind me.
Tell me. No, come on, tell me, dog. Tell me.
No, you can't give away the sources, man.
I don't think he watches.
NFL, bro. It's NFL.
Okay, I don't think he watches, but I was told Seattle offered him the OC job. Yeah.
Wow.
So, that's what I was told. That he was offered that job. But anyway, all right, let's move on to seasons, guys. What's LSU's OC's first name? Is it Will Sloan?
Joe
Sloan. Joe Sloan. I'd asked you pre-show if he was under the most pressure of any college football coordinator this year, and I don't think you necessarily agreed with that. I feel like this is a big year for him. I thought, and I'll let you talk, Season, because this is more your expertise, but like I thought towards the end of the year, it seemed like to me, at least on message boards, and I know message boards do not speak for the majority of the fan base, but it seemed like he got a lot of hate on the LSU message boards. What was your general take on the job he's done and looking forward to 2025?
I feel like he's getting overshadowed a good bit. He did really get a good bit of hate this past season, but honestly, it's really the defense that's really kind of been struggling a little bit. Obviously Blake Baker's making a turnaround, but he didn't have I will say this: I liked a lot of things from Joe Sloan, but also didn't like some things from what I've seen. He didn't have no run game. That was a really big critic of him. And another big critique of him is his style of play and his route developments. Just a lot of everything's to the boundaries, a lot of crossers, a lot of outs, a lot of comebacks. He didn't really hit the middle of the field, and he didn't really have any deep game as well. But he did have an injury to one of his fastest wide receivers last season, so I don't know how bad that hurts. But they finished 25th in total offense. Not terrible.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think he has a bad rep a little bit, not necessarily completely deserving to him, but he is facing some pressure now. But now in 2025, all that's out the window for Kelly, the whole staff. Like this is the year now where it's like no more excuses, things like that. He got the fastest wide receiver room and receiver in the country. Got Nussmeier coming back in year 2. We all know what happens with the year 2 LSU quarterback jumps recently. So I think he's going to light it up this year, and he's going to put away some of those critiques on him. It has to start with getting a run game, though. I think that's going to be his biggest focus right now. Fixing the O-line, run scheme blocks, and I think that's where you got to start off with.
What do you think LSU's what do you think their ceiling is this year? Can they win a national championship with this team?
I think they could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might, Chris. You muted. I think everything, literally, the whole
And mute
season's
thing
right.
got me.
The whole season's right on that opener, dog. I'm telling y'all, against Clemson, the whole season.
I was looking at towards the end of the year because I didn't realize I didn't remember y'all had 3 straight losses: Texas A&M, Alabama, and Florida. And in those losses, it was 23, 13, and 16 points scored. Yeah, definitely he's going to have to. I think he personally does have a lot of pressure on him this year. I don't know if Season agrees. He's more plugged in on LSU than I ever will be, so I could be wrong, but I feel like it's
He's
a hot seat year.
he's a really good quarterback developer. His offense, that was his first year offensive coordinator, I want to say. Or I know we had Denbrock in 23. I'm not too sure if he was a co or not, but
He started LSU in 22. He was 22, 23 QB coach.
so that was his first year coordinator last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know he's a really great quarterback developer, though. Like, really, really good quarterback coach. That's his bread and butter right there for sure.
Which
Yeah.
he's still supposed to, from what I understand, keep the reins as the quarterback coach next year too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Blake Baker, our guy. Me and Season loves Blake Baker. I think Austin does too. I personally think he had a decent year last year. I thought the defense improved a lot. Were they perfect? No. But I was thinking for his first year, I thought he did a phenomenal job with what LSU was the previous year before him, which was a really bad defense. The defense was so bad before he came that you had a Heisman winner and a top NFL draft pick and at quarterback and receiver, and you couldn't overcome how bad that defense was. I thought he did. I thought he did a pretty good job last year. Like I said, he's had some bumps along the road last year with some games. I think Texas A&M was it Texas A&M that had Texas A&M scored 38 points and Alabama had 42. That was a bad game, but I think overall he had a decent year last year. I think next year's is going to be. I think LSU's defense next year is going to be top, top 20. Would you say this season?
I think they have potential for sure.
How did you think Baker did last year and going into the future?
I think he overachieved, bro. I said it all year. He overachieved with what he had. They hit the board, offensively and defensively, LSU. So I think he finally got his pieces needed. Like I said, no more excuses for the whole staff, including defense. So this year, man, I'm expecting a huge jump. And I already said this. I got a bold take that he's the most hungriest defensive coordinator in all of college football right now. So I'm living by my word on that, and hope you don't prove me wrong.
I think he's gonna have great. Well, Austin, what's your thoughts on Blake Baker?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm a fan.
Some areas.
Last year, my take on LSU. I felt like there were some games that they came out and got punched in the mouth, and it just felt like almost like the teams quit on them. But I'm with you. I think they should have a big jump this year, and LSU is a team I may look at bumping up when we redo the preseason top 25.
I'm starting to buy some LSU vibes. I'm starting to buy it.
It might be season selling us on a little bit, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm scared. I'm scared about what Bama's going to look like. I think Georgia may be. I mean, I don't want to say this because they'll probably go win a national championship, but I think Georgia could be down a little bit next year again. It might be a year for LSU to step in, take the SEC, or at least compete with Texas for it, and make a run.
Yeah. Like Season said, it's all going. I think that Clemson game is going to be the biggest game of the year. Well, one of the biggest week 1 games. Just for the narrative going in, like for Clemson, who we all are high on, and I think a couple of us is even going to bump them even higher. And then LSU going I think 0-3, 0-4 the last 3 or 4 season openers. This is a must. It feels like LSU, the opener is like one of the rare must-win games at week 1. You don't usually get very many must-win week 1s, but I think for LSU, this is an absolute must-win.
What day is that game on?
Saturday.
It is Saturday?
Yeah.
Good. I don't know. I feel like LSU opening weekend's been trying to grab like the Sunday night or Monday night game. Like, no, this game needs to be played on. I don't know why. It just feels it feels different when the game ain't on Saturday. I don't know.
I tell you what, I bet Brian Kelly's loving that it's on Saturday with all the other games, so everything else can be distracting if they did lose, because we got so many banger games on that day. So if LSU does lose, maybe we forget about it and talk about all the other games. I bet he's enjoying not being that one Sunday night game.
Yeah.
But all right, let's go on to my mind just blanked, but the Aggies offense coordinator this season, what's his name? Shit. This is horrible. Colin Klein?
Yeah.
Okay, Klein, yeah. I loved that hire when they made it. When he was at Kansas State, I thought he did a phenomenal job with Will Howard, the offense in general. I love his run scheme stuff. I think that was something they did really well at Texas A&M last year. I think my only criticism with him was the pass game was lacking. I think he probably needs to get a little bit more, I don't know the word I'm looking for, a little more diversity into his passing stuff. But I do like that Reed's coming back for a second year. I'm not a big believer in him as a quarterback. I don't know how you guys feel as a thrower. I think he's great with his legs. But they went out and killed it in the portal on wide receivers. He's a coordinator I've always been kind of high on. He's somebody that I actually wish Georgia would have hired when Munkin left. He was somebody I was interested in Georgia getting. I thought he would have fit well with what Kirby likes to do. But I'm pretty high on him. I think next year is going to be a pretty big year for him. I think he's going to do pretty well. He done really well at Kansas State, and he almost took the Notre Dame job at one point when Marcus Freeman, I think, was first becoming a head coach. So, Austin, we'll go with you since seasons had it last couple of times. What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you. When I was doing a little research on him and looking back, it's like, oh yeah, he did have those great, offenses at Kansas State there for a couple of years, but I also agree with you on because like he was last year, he not only was offensive coordinator, but he also was quarterback coach, and it was like if that's the best he could get out of that, I'm curious to see where they go this year with that. But I don't know. What do you think? What's a good season for A&M this year?
Anything better than 8-4?
Yeah. I mean, the reason I asked that is like, you talk about an offensive coordinator at Georgia or even LSU, and I think that the answer is they should be in every single game, if not winning every single game. But I feel like A&M may not quite be there yet. So, but I think he's going to move them in the right direction.
Season, what you got on him?
He definitely has the weapons. I feel like, man, we got Marcel Reed returning, both backs, Amari Daniels, Le'Veon Moss, really lots of speed. I agree with you though with Marcel Reed's passing. I gotta see some improvement with his passing game in year two. He took over starting about halfway or a little bit towards the end of the season, but I think that's definitely going to be on Klein's watch is the development of Reed through the passing game. And, I haven't even really looked at A&M's schedule for next season too, but they notorious for having so much talent and always going like 7-5 or 8-4. I don't know what it is. They can't have like a really good winning season put together, but I feel like you can't have much excuses with that nucleus coming back. That's a lot of talent coming back. I'm not as high on you on the receivers, but we'll see how that receiving room's looking too. Um, they hit the portal pretty hard. They lost some guys through the portal as well, but so yeah, A&M's getting a lot of hype. We're gonna see, man. They always do, huh? Every
They
year,
always do.
every
Yeah.
year. Are they gonna live up to
Yeah.
the hype?
I just need them. I was telling our guests we had on 2 weeks ago or so from the 3 Tech Pod. This is the year they gotta get over that 8-4 hump. I think for the Aggies, anything 9-3 or above is going to be a successful season. Since it's been, I think it was the COVID years, the only year they went like 9-1 that year.
Mhm.
But other than that, it's been 8-4, 8-4, 8-4, or 7-5 or something like that. They've kind of lived in that 7 to 8 win range. So I think they're going to push 9 wins. I don't know. I think they could possibly push 10 wins. But that's me being high on the receivers. But yeah, all right. Let's go to Penn State's OC. I'm not even going to butcher his last name, but Andy at Penn State, offensive coordinator. I've always loved him when he was at Kansas. I know season can probably get a little. He season probably he's a little gimmicky. He does a lot of gimmick stuff. I'm a sucker for that, especially since I play NCAA. Give me all the gimmick plays you can. But I do think he's a creative offensive coordinator. I do think sometimes he can get a little too cute. What game was it season that we were talking about?
Ohio State.
Yeah, 4 straight plays. What was it? He didn't give it to Tyler Warren or anything like that. I do think he can get a little too cute for his own good. But I think generally he's a really good OC, and I think as the years go on, he's going to elevate Penn State's offense. They just got to get that wide receiver room fixed, and I haven't seen them get the room fixed, but I do still think the offense is going to do a really good job next year because of who's returning with Aller and the 2 running backs. Maybe a wide receiver. I haven't looked at the recruiting class yet. Maybe there's somebody in that's going to jump up, but I'm a huge fan of his, and I'm kind of excited to see his system in year 2. What you got, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I was happy about the hire when Penn State made it. I thought it was going to be good, but I mean, I think all I got to talk about is can they fix that wide receiver room? Like for me, I think I'm blinded by that right now. The wide receiver room was so bad last year,
Yeah.
and the positive thing in that is it won't be hard to improve it this year. I mean, you take away Tyler Warren out of that pack, and I mean, you got nothing. So anyhow, um, I I can't say if I'm high on him yet. What I see this year will make or break that.
That's my biggest question mark, man. How the offense is going to look without Tyler Warren?
Yeah,
Obviously, everybody's all coming back and they selling in for a national championship this year and the Jim Knowles thing. But offensively speaking, you got Aller coming back, both backs. I mean, I think last year they were 26 in total offense. Um, Now I'm high on this tight end that they bring in. He is a freshman, but I am high on this cat coming in. The 2 wide receivers, I got 2 names for y'all: Devontae Ross and Kyron Hudson. 2 transfers. We're gonna see how they look. But I mean, the 2 backs alone though, Singleton and Allen, monsters, bro. You're gonna do so much with it. They're gonna lean on the ground heavily, but I agree with Austin. I mean, 0 catches in the semifinal game by a wide receiver, so you got to clean that up for sure. And
do we think that? I thought Drew Aller took a pretty decent step. He still had his bad games.
his worst game was that semifinal game, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
because I remember before that game, we were all talking about how well he had played this year and how much of a step up he did, and then he had a dud against Notre Dame.
Yeah, he did.
yeah, now he did have I remember one of the back. I mean, he had some drops and stuff, but he didn't play too good that game.
Yeah. All right, let's go. I just Austin, I'm horrible at prepping apparently because I didn't write anything for Bobby Petrino. You got anything on Bobby Petrino that you wanted to talk about?
So here's something crazy. Arkansas finished 10th in total offense last year.
Really?
10th in total offense with a 7-6 record. So part of me questions, is that playing from behind all the time and garbage time scores, and but I did not realize they were the 10th best total offense in the country for Bobby Petrino. I know they had that really great opening week where they scored on all 8 drives against like Arkansas Pine Bluff or some shit like that. But I mean, they got Taylor Green. He was hit or miss quarterback. They lost a good bit, Arkansas. They lost their number 1 wide receiver. They lost both backs, I want to say. So I'm kind of down on Arkansas. My expectations for this season coming up, we're going to see how they look. It doesn't strike me as a team that has a lot of momentum right now. But I mean, offensively, they did all right, I guess, just not from a win-loss standpoint.
Yeah.
I'm always, I won't say a fan, but I think when you have somebody who's used to being a head coach and they have to, be a coordinator, somebody who's used to having to watch an entire program and now all I've got to do is focus on one aspect of it, I always think that's a positive. I mean, and maybe Bama spoiled me with that, with Kiffin coming through, with Shark coming through, that's why I'm a fan of it. I mean, again, we talk about, am I a fan because I think he's going to take Arkansas to a national championship? No. But I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I definitely I loved Bobby Petrino back in the day. I think he's still pretty good OC. I'm with Season. I wonder if a lot of it was playing catch up, and a lot of that week 1 scoring on 8 drives kind of inflated the number.
Could have been. One thing I'm noticing that he needs to clean up is penalties. He had 4 games with 10+ penalties. Gonna have to clean that up. You got Taylor Green coming back. That's the only really bright spot that I could point to for the offense. Other than that, I don't know. It might be a curveball season for Arkansas and Petrino on the offense.
Yeah, probably going to be. He'll probably be the interim coach mid-season. But all right, let's go to.
I think that's his plan.
Yeah, that's probably his plan. He's a sneaky little guy. Let's go to a guy that's actually one of my favorite OCs because I thought he did a phenomenal job at LSU. Is Denbrock at Notre Dame. I felt he was a little.
He's sneaky, dog.
He's sneaky. He's underrated. Nobody talks about him that much.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think he's always been good, even before LSU. I just think he's never had really the quarterback like he did at LSU with Jaden Daniels. I mean, just think about what Jaden Daniels looked like before he got to LSU. He was kind of like, he did okay at Arizona State. He wasn't great, but people kind of wrote him off. I wrote him off. When he went to LSU, I was like, this is a joke. I mean, he's not – what is Brian Kelly doing? Why is he going after Jaden Daniels? And then Denbrock gets hired, and I was like, okay. And then he won a Heisman with Denbrock calling plays. I don't think that's by accident. I think that was because of the development and the play calling that Denbrock did. I think Denbrock's a phenomenal OC when he has the right quarterback. And even when he doesn't have the right quarterback, look what he did with Riley Leonard, who we all know his limitations on throwing the ball deep. He went into New Orleans and beat what many considered a top 3 team in the country in Georgia. And he was able to take Riley Leonard, who was very not that great a deep ball thrower, who's more of a runner. He can only throw really the short passes, and he got him all the way to the national championship. And of course, those limitations kind of hurt them in the national championship game. But I thought he did a phenomenal job, and I can't wait to see him with a quarterback that can actually throw the ball down the field. He's probably one of my favorite OCs. I would love for Georgia to hire him if we ever had an opening. But yeah, Season, I'll let you go on this one because he's a guy that was at LSU, and I know you loved him.
Yeah, I like Denbrock. He's one of those coordinators that's going to always kind of surprise you. He's going to hit you with something that you definitely wasn't expecting out of the blue. That's kind of his style. He likes to keep the defense guessing a good bit. He, like you said, he was handicapped with Riley's passing game, and he made it all the way to the championship game. That's really impressive. Now, they do have a quarterback battle going on right now in spring. Curious to see who's going to win it. That quarterback who came in Jelly last season, he didn't look too shabby. He had some pocket awareness, standing in the pocket, hitting throws. Curious to see. I mean, if he gets a passing game at Notre Dame with that schedule that they have next season, it's not terribly hard. They may go undefeated or something, or a 1-game loss. So if he could get that a pocket passer, or don't have to rely on just always running the quarterback, he's going to expand his play calling for sure. He was handicapped by Riley last season, and yeah, Denbrock, he's a top 5 offensive coordinator right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
Jeremiah Love coming back next, both backs, Price. They did lose a good bit of the, but it seems like at Notre Dame that O-line should not be a question mark, right? Some people consider them as O-line U. I think they're going to be probably well suited to fill and replace that O-line. But yeah, I can't wait to see honestly, I think Notre Dame's a lot for the playoff next year. And that's me saying that, not even knowing the quarterback battle. I just think the schedule is going to be really favorable. I'm curious to see what kind of jumps are, offensively, especially the passing game that they make.
Yeah, Austin.
I'm a huge fan of coordinators that can find a way to win when they don't have a Heisman type quarterback. I mean, of course, we didn't think Jaden Daniels was a Heisman type quarterback until he was. But anybody can line up when you got the best of the best back there and look like look great. But I'm with you. I think what he did with Riley Leonard last year was super impressive. And now that he does have somebody who, I mean, what do we see? Two series of the other guy or something like that, or
it was like 1 or 2 series.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple series, but I mean, I definitely think getting that little bit of experience and having this year to work with him, I'm curious to see what. I'm with you on the lock though. They got to be a lock for the playoffs.
Yeah. All right, let's go to one more second-year guy, I believe, and then we'll go to these 2 guys to end the show that are third-year guys. Cannot find the text. It's USC's defense coordinator season. You mentioned him. What's his name?
Yeah.
Deontay Lynn. Is it Deontay?
No, we're close.
I can't find your text, but USC's defensive coordinator, second-year guy. I thought he did pretty well last year, considering. I think more of USC's problems last year was offense.
Deontay
Lynn. Okay. Well, we'll just say Lynn. Look, we're not getting paid for this yet, so maybe once we get paid for it, we'll do better with names. Yeah, I thought he did pretty well. I think USC's problem last year was the offense. I thought the offense was the bigger issue. I thought the defense played well in stretches. I thought he did a phenomenal job at UCLA. I mean, when he was there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Penn State tried to talk to him before Jim Knowles. So I thought he did a pretty good job. You're pretty high on him, Season. What'd you think?
That USC was on 7 one-score games last season. That really caught my eye. And I agree with you. It was really the offensive side that kind of was surprisingly holding them back, with Riley's reputation as a play caller. But I feel like defensively, they finally made a jump, kind of. They were physical, aggressive, I noticed at times. Were able, just had that culture that you needed on the defensive side that a Riley's team, didn't have for most of his career. So that's one thing that really stood out to me. All these one-score games really caught my eye. So they were very competitive, even in the losses. USC, they had a top 15 recruiting class coming in. Number one defensive tackle in the country they signed, Jaheim Stewart from New Orleans. So I think they on the rise. Defensively, we'll see though. I'm not really completely buying into USC hype, as some others are. I didn't really look at their schedule either for 2025, but I felt like they made a jump defensively, and credit to Lynn for establishing that culture that you need. And I think you got to start with the trenches. Obviously, everything starts with the trenches in football. So I think he addressed the D line, and that's really what kind of jumped them, jump there.
Yeah,
I think the D line, what he did, turned things around.
I think this year's going to be a monster year for him. I really do. Austin, what's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, what was USC's recruiting class? It wasn't great, was it?
Like 15.
Not for, yeah.
Not for USC.
Yeah.
I think the guy's great, and I mean, I was looking at stats, and I mean, points per game, yards per game, everything moved, in the right direction last year, over the previous couple of years. My fear, I guess, would be, I mean, wasn't he pretty much always in the NFL? I know he was. I think he did a year at UCLA, and that's when he went to USC. But he was an NFL guy, so to me, I mean, I think, can he adapt to the college lifestyle now of recruiting and NIL and all of that? If he does that, and he's able to, get the right dudes in there, I think he's definitely got the scheme and the talent to do something with them.
Yeah. All right, let's go to one of my favorite OCs. I think this dude is a fucking wizard. Excuse my French. I love the guy. I know Season probably does because he's an offensive guy. Will Stein at Oregon. I think he's done a phenomenal job. I'm so looking forward to this year because I think the one thing that's lacking in his offense that's not by design, like it's not his fault. I just don't think he's had the quarterback that could really do it at a high level, is that vertical threat down the field. It's been like a lot of side-to-side screens, little short routes. I'm not saying he never went vertically. He did. It just wasn't like something they did a lot. But I think that was more so the limitations of Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel. But with Dante Moore, which from everything I'm understanding, he's a pretty good deep ball thrower. So I'm really excited to see his offense and its full potential with a quarterback that supposedly can really push the ball downfield, unlike the last two seasons. Do you like him as much as I do?
Oh, I love Lil Stein.
Yeah,
I love Stein. Man, the first time they played Ohio State, his play calling is what won that game.
mm-hmm.
He played aggressive and really played to win the game. But however, that drilling, what was it like when they were like 31-0, or so, it was bad in the Rose Bowl. That kind of left a little sour remark, for some people on him. But they went undefeated, and they did that with an undersized quarterback and Dylan Gabriel. Like what was Gabriel, like 5'11"? Now they get Dante Moore. I think the passing game is going to be even more explosive. And, Gabriel had a pretty solid year too, though. I ain't going to take away too much from Gabriel. But, whenever he's playing aggressive and, he has all that talent. And I just think player personnel-wise, he has it all to repeat success again in 2025. Mekhi Hughes at running back. I think they bring back Evan Stewart, the wide receiver. Dante Moore, like it's going to be the offense is going to be really explosive again. I don't think they take a step back at all.
We talked about this in the beginning of the show with some teams. Will Stein, Dan Lanning, Tosh Lupoy. That's got to be a top 3 coaching staff in the country, right?
Yeah, I'd take that. I would take that staff over. Well, I would take the OC over Mike Bobo. I like our DC.
Yeah.
But if you had to tell me, if you said, Chris, you either get Will Stein and Tosh or Mike Bobo and Glenn, I'll take. If it gets me Will Stein to Georgia, I'll take Tosh.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Give me Will Stein. I think
Right.
Tosh and Kirby. Kirby, at the end of the day, as long as Kirby's the head coach, my defense is going to be fine. So, yeah, if I had to pick which staff I like better, I'd probably go Oregon's. If you're talking about the big three,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
the big two.
And they signed the Corey and Moore, number one wide receiver in the country.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch this Oregon offense.
Oh, it's fun. It's a fun offense, man. I love it.
And you know what's funny? Is Oregon's had a fun offense for 20 years. It's like, how do they keep producing this? You know, it's different coaches, different everything. But
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. Hopefully they come back with the right mindset, because I'm sure, like you said, last year probably left a bad taste in their mouth to run the tables and then just get your ass kicked, you know, in the playoffs.
They kind of they started off a little slow last year too. I remember at the beginning of the season, we're like, when we're gonna unleash the offense, fix the offense, but then they went on a tear, man. They scored 30 plus in like 8 straight games or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the one thing that really impresses me about Dan Lanning is we talk about the offense and how it's flashy and it scores a bunch of points, but they're also really physical when running the ball. Like, it's not just a little gimmicky offense. It's a physical. They'll run the ball downhill. They'll get on the center.
They had over 100 rushing yards in every game except Rose Bowl. Get so many rushing
And
games.
I think when Dan Lanning got hired, I think that was really one of the biggest concerns, because a lot of times when the DCs get hired, they'll go out and get the guy that'll run the I formation. But Dan hasn't done that in both his hires. Kenny Dillingham, who I thought was a great OC, did phenomenal there too. So he's really nailed it with the OC hires. And
they went off on the ground, bro.
Yeah, they're very physical. I mean, they're running a lot of pistol stuff, and
they had negative 23 yards though in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, that wasn't a good one.
That's
from
the sacks too, though. Wasn't it like 6 or 7? Or I can't remember.
Yeah, I forgot. Sacks count as rushing yards. Yeah. Stupidest thing we do. They need to quit doing that on NCAA, because I'll be getting sacked like 8 times on that game. Garrett Riley, last one of the night. Garrett Riley, Clemson. He was a guy that I was super high on when they hired him, Dabo. Kind of shocked that he did. He was at TCU. I thought he did a phenomenal job at TCU. He's Lincoln Riley's brother. Some people actually don't know that, but he is Lincoln Riley's brother. And then his second year, I was pretty down on him. I was like, this isn't going good. But it seemed like there was a lot of maybe Dabo interfering. And then his third year, I thought went really, really well. And I thought as the season progressed, he got even better. I thought by the time they got to the Texas game, that offense was humming. And I think Texas's defense was one of the best in the country. But they did a pretty good job against Texas. Like, they were staying in that ball game. They scored a lot of points. Receivers look good. The quarterback looks good. I'm really excited to watch them next year. What you think, Austin?
I think he's got a lot of pressure on him next year, because I think I don't know that their ceiling is like we talked about maybe with like LSU, but I think with what they have coming back next year, I'm curious to see, and I'm trying not to start getting excited for that week 1 matchup again, but I am curious to see what he does, just as I am with LSU. But he's one I don't know how I feel yet.
Yeah, season. What's your takes?
I think he had a above decent year last year. Often, looking at the game logs, opened up the season with a dud against Georgia, only 3 points. Got dominated by Georgia. Had a really bad loss against Louisville. Didn't have over 150 passing yards in that game. They really leaned hard on the run game last year with I forgot his name. Really good big big physical back. Maffa, I think Phil Maffa, his name was. He's going. I'm curious to see how that running game is going to look a little bit. I think that's one area they're going to have to focus in on the spring. But as it turns, they're the number one team in terms of returning production. I think they got 71% of their roster that came back. They lead the country in returning production. But I'm curious to see how the run game is going to look. They brought in a transfer. I'm not necessarily overly high on that back, but you got Klubnik, you got all those wide receivers, really good old line. He I agree with Austin. A lot of pressure is on him. He's going to have to make some type of jump. Definitely with all what's returning, and everything's on that opener with LSU.
Yep. All right, man. That was a great show. Any closing thoughts, season?
Bro, week 1, LSU, Clemson. We got Nuss versus Klubnik. We got Blake Baker versus Allen. We got Garrett Riley, Joe Sloan. Come on now.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. That's probably my favorite game of the day.
The star power from the slate, just all around in that game, is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, hopefully, we're supposed to be going to Austin's house if he doesn't become too bougie for me and still lets me come.
We getting down that weekend.
All right, guys, that was another amazing show. We'll be back with you guys next Thursday where we will talk hot seat. Let's talk about the coaches we think are on the hottest seats. And who we think could possibly save their jobs, maybe get off the hot seat. We'll do a whole hot seat discussion next week. And then the week after, we're going to do our first coach to win his first national championship draft. So come join us next Thursday, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Follow us on Twitter at CFB_SZN. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Same thing at CFB_SZN. Appreciate everybody that watched and all the follows that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks. We'll see y'all next week.